All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for December 27th, 2021. Let's get started. So last week we had the rebound from oversold conditions where it exceeded Z-2, got down and tested the previous low, almost got to Z-3, then reversed sharply. Closed near the high of the week, right near previous 10-day high and all-time high. And so we put a tight frame around the opening, and we're ready to trade it in either direction. And what we got was a push straight to the top, like we talked about this weekend. All systems go. Made a new 30-day high, a new 10-day high right here. It's right at Z2 at 477 and some change. Short shot here to Z3. You got the 3-period hull is rocketing straight up. You have the extension of the 30 is sloping up. And just crossed the Bollinger Band mean today. And then the PSAR extension is still just chugging right along, everything pointing up and away. By the same token, tomorrow I'll be ready for a reversal of this move. If that should happen, then a second move would get it down into the dragon and the Bollinger Band mean. So still, everything looks good. Big tech leaders crushing it today. If you did just a quarter of the trades that Ken H framed this weekend, then you had a great day today. If you just took 1/4 of the trades that he framed, then you crushed it today. All right, so the S&P was up 0.142. The Qs were up 1.65, so it was a tech and large caps today. The Dow was up 1%. Russell was up 0.94. Emerging markets up 0.45. Even treasuries got in on the act at 0.24. So all good today. Let's look at the sectors that dominated. We had material slightly better than the Dow at 1.5. You had lumber, commercial real estate up 1.8 and 2%. You had S&P tech and energy 2.15 and 2.2. You had oil exploration, the large cap blended crypto. And then the real winners today in the sector among the targets: Devon Energy up 6%, Coinbase 4.5%, Tesla 2.5 to close up 1093, U.S. Steel 2.5, Microsoft and Apple in the mature cap, large cap tech space, Cliff. So another good day for the metals. Let's look at the sectors that underperformed. Blockchain off slightly at 1.41. Brazil, the FANGs, blended commodities, Mexico, wheat and precious, staples, finance, and the other lumber, all between 1.5% and 1%. You had discretionary only up 0.97. That's the only troublesome part of today. You had Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Trust, 0.4. Agriculture, 0.1. Marijuana, now we're into the red, minus 0.28. Clean energy, lithium, Ethereum, moonshots, ARC innovation. That's troublesome for the whole ARC pantheon there. VIX down 2.38. S&P Bio 2.58 and ARC Bio 3 1/3. Underperforming targets. Virgin Galactic -3, Robinhood 2.5, PayPal flat, John Deere, Squarespace, Alcoa Tech slightly underperforming, although you'd take that on a buy and hold there for Techs and Alcoa. So really, very broad-based strength for tomorrow, but tech and energy, and I would say the metals, tech, energy, and the metals. I've got a lot of trades to cover from the boys. So let's see what we got here. You guys did some really good work today. All right, here's a trio from Ken H. So Devon Energy. So you snuck that in late. I have some trade frames to show on that one myself. I found the winner or found the mover today. Devon Energy was moving right from the beginning. All right, so Devon Energy, we've seen made the turn here. Ken H had that one and this one. I think, yeah, here's today. Missed this whole section in here, but did get some tactical plays. And this is a good reason. Right at this level with all that resistance overhead and a 6% day, that's plus 6%, to not want to hold that overnight, because that's going to be a critical state tomorrow. It either continues to power forward or runs all the way back to 42, and there's no reason to hold that one overnight. However, there's the gap down. I'm going to cover this in my section, but this is a nice Kata 2, because you have the nice strong move, orderly hold right at the bone, right at the PSAR, and then Kata 2, second sniper, re-entry, sniper and a manager for, let's see, 6.5. Good day at work for missing. There was probably another 5 to 10 in here, depending on how you played that. Ethereum. All right, so Ethereum is still in early days here after this harsh sell-off, holding support, just beginning the test across the daily Bollinger Band, the daily Dragon, and had some moves today. Here was a gap, got paid, re-entered, thought about the sniper, took the scratch. 1, 2, 3 re-entry, and this is one we saw from this weekend, and he had moved the stop up, I think it was to about here, and it rolled over and plays the PSAR exit for 4.5 on this trade here. 4.5, nicely played, all in the orderly. And notice how these resistance levels are framing the trade channel. So we would not be allowed to be surprised if it rolled all the way back to 33. The fact that it had this strong move halfway and is holding feels positive going into the new year, but we shall see. Tesla make, the end of year trimming create some opportunities for the believers. So strong support here above 900. There's a move from 900 to 1100. That's a 22% move. And now this is right in the middle of this cluster of feels like fair value. Although the RL270 is way down here, that feels like, the midpoint of this last set of shenanigans. It's right at the 50-yard line. So I do not blame you for not wanting to hold any more of that overnight. That looks like in terms of a tactical trade, here was the SSC. There's a COTA 2 for sure. Here's a Z3 pinch breakout. I like that one. This would be a COTA 2. This would be an SSC with a really tight stop. Maybe, and that's about $30. Second position in cash, perfect reentry on a double scoop. He thought about putting a third scoop on, but I think because he's already got 2 in, he just held and then changed his mind and got greedy, added, and then just in time to scratch. So he nets 7 after giving back 1. Just a living reminder. Let's see, Ethereum, Tesla, Devon. Okay, yep. All right, so here is, let's see, this is XOP. Let's see who this was. David H. Here's the yesterday's close Z3 pinch. Here's the breakdown. So there's an opportunity here to here. The whole energy sector did that. We saw that happen in Devon. So there's your turning point. There's the PSAR flip. There's his 1, 2, 3 entry on the near side of the dragon. He gets that stop to no lose plus dinner for 2 pretty quick. Gets a second position in as it's getting ready to leave the river. Rolls over, takes a micro scratch on this one or micro loss and gets paid for 2.3. Nice. Now the stop and reverse was a little slow on this one. He's catching it as it crosses the VWAP. I mean, you could have taken the PSAR or the RLXD. That one's still okay because you're looking to get back to the bottom of the dragon and the bottom of the RL10. So you're trying to get this move or that move. That was a reasonable stop, a better stop and reverse. This would have been a little early for a COTA 2, but you can see why you'd be interested in that, right? Because you have the dragon here, the dragon here. It really didn't fail. It just quickly reversed, and now it's getting ready to leave the river. But I prefer that you take the Z3 pinch breakout. I would say, look, if you're going to add that fast, just put 2 positions on here. But what I do notice is that it goes winter, spring, summer. So that was an argument. If you had taken this one, I wouldn't be offended, but I would rather see you get 1, 2 units of reward in with momentum and breaking out, and it's clearly above, yesterday's Z3. So I think that's the one to do. This one just, you're getting greedy. That would be greedy. So now you've got, you've got the 1 position, 2 positions, nice third position because you had a nice run up and then it didn't even fall back to the Bollinger Band mean or the PSAR or the 270. No, it just kept going. And then you see the Z3 breakout, and that's nice. Now here, there's no more follow through. So this is a great sniper, which basically makes the third position scratch. And then that gives you 7.1 on this segment. That's pretty good. Good day at work. A reasonable thought process to go long here. What makes that the second one even better is that it held support where it held support, and then you buy the second breakout, and then that gets you second position, third position, and then I think there's probably, oh yeah, there is. And so the last one was a minus 0.22, and this one probably earns, I'm not sure how much, 1.4. So that looks like about almost 10. If we add 2 1/3 minus a half plus 7, plus 1, that's somewhere, that's near 10. Nice work. The second half, not so much. Let's see if we zoom this in a little bit. All right, so we have a quick scratch. Reasonable. This is, I'm not sure, tried to fade the Z2 with a stop at Z3. Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it comes down and scratches. I don't mind that because this could have come down to here. That's, and you're holding 10R, speculate 1 on that one. Just watch getting sloppy. Don't let the morning success lead to sloppy afternoons. If anything, you want to be sharper when you're on your game, because then you should really be executing well. So rather than taking liberties when you have money in the bank, trade sharper. Don't take bad shots just because you made a few. Take high percentage shots all the time. So this is a good stop and reverse here with the Z3 breakout that gets paid. I like that one. A reasonable effort on the short side. Good scratch. It probably failed before you could go long because you wanted to. This one, we might have gotten a little early, but that still feels pretty good. I think the exit is slow because it came here. I'd like to see you get out here. You had 1, did not fail. 2, did not fail. Right there is where I think I want to scratch it. So instead of -1, that would be minus 0.5. So I think that's the exit you want. That makes this a really good, another Z3 breakout, which goes in your favor. You got paid. That's good. This might be a little slow. I'd actually like to see you get it about here. That's a good exit. Now that you're in the afternoon chop, you're taking the measured moves. That's fine. This gets a little choppy in here. This is where we want to reset and get long again. That's not too bad. You got paid. And then this gets paid pretty nicely too. So maybe there was some fatigue in there, but I think that's fine. Build up your endurance. Net on the day was 11, and you netted 1 for this whole afternoon. There might have been, with best play, another maybe 3 at most. So that's still pretty efficient for what was there. And you were not chasing out in here. But this is where you'd want to chase if you did. Double bottom with the RL10s, winter, spring. There's the PSAR flip. But that's the last half hour of the day, so we don't want that one. But really nice work. All right, here is Wojak on what's this, crude. So rejecting the VWAP and a Z3 pinch, Z breakdown. I'd like to see you get paid in here when the PSAR flip happens. It had 10 minutes to fail and it didn't. And oil had made a nice turnaround this whole day. But so This is where I like to see you cover. This is a good stop and reverse. Reasonable to get paid. That's your reentry. You'd have gotten paid here again. This is a reasonable short because it rejected the VWAP and the whole dragon complex is rolling over. And now the trade you're playing for is this, is you're targeting here. It didn't make it. So reasonable stop. Now this is where you got gun shy. When it this time it didn't even get to the VWAP. So I'd like to see you take the PSAR flip right here. Then that really gets paid. This is a great stop and reverse. A little slow on the exit. This looks like you exited and got short and lost one. I'd like to see you get short here because now you have two lower highs off of these two. So there's a hump and then there's another hump. This could actually get short right here instead of here, in which case this would all be a scratch. So I think you did a reasonable job in this area. There just wasn't a whole lot of movement. This is a great Z3 pinch breakout. When it finally crosses the VWAP, that's a signal. And then maybe this one, but that's also a good one. So I think there was probably some mental fatigue, and you got to recognize that the market has shifted in that time frame. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good work in there. That's positive expectancy. So this one we're going to see later, I think, on the next slide. Yeah, I think you did 10 on this one. But if you add in this one, and this one, that 10 could have been 20. And then I'd like to see you get this exit here, because this time it came down and held the PSAR. It didn't really make a new high, and then came down and tested the Bollinger Band mean. And you can see right after about here, all of this is different than that. So once it crosses the Bollinger Band mean, don't hang around. If you got short here, you got to scratch that. Then that's a good stop and reverse. And if you stop and reverse here, you got to at least scratch that. But still, pretty good work today. You're building up reps and endurance. Yeah, here was I think this was this the afternoon trade? Let's see, that one starts at 3. Oh yeah, no, there's another. Yeah, so this one ends at 3 p.m. This one starts at 3 p.m. And this is the one, probably mental fatigue. This is a COTA 2 and a Z2 breakout. That would have been tricky to get a second position that early, but by this time, I think you could have gotten that one. And then this one, this is a nice third entry because this time the pullback was 2 bars. It didn't even penetrate the dragon and kept going. And now when it takes off above the previous RL10, that's a good sign. Same thing here. It didn't even penetrate the dragon. It almost looks like a rising pennant. That's a good 4th position. And then when you take you might have been in that too long. I'd like to see you get out up in here when it hits the Bollinger Band mean, especially on the pinch. So this was 10 from here to here. And if you added 1, 2, 3 more positions, that 10 could have been 20. So in oil today, you might have been around 25 once you get more stick time and rehearsal. So, but that's really good work today. Oil was really moving today. Here is, let's see, ES. This was all the morning stuff, if I remember. Yeah, on London time. So there was not much happening. You did get paid where you could. You got paid on the COTA 2. Stayed out of the chop, although this is really attractive right here. That's a super pinch, except for the RL90. So that's like a Z3P. That's be really tempting to me. And that would be tempting then as a Kata 2. And then now finally you get it when it clears the previous hump, just in time to get smacked. So I would go for the less certainty. I would still take that. If I hadn't taken those two, I would still take this one. That's a good scratch. That's a good effort on the short side. That's just being in the grinder. Another good effort trying to go short on the breakdown, and a perfect stop and reverse. I like that. I like getting paid. I like getting paid. I like getting paid. This one should be down in here, though. Getting a little mentally tired there. Yeah, so this entry, we'd like to see right in the bend of the dragon, because that's like 5 bars up, and you have the PSAR flip is here. You can see that coming. I'd like to get maybe one extra R squeezed. Great effort. I don't mind trying for the short back to the RL 270. That this should be a stop and reverse though, because after 10R or whatever that is, it's going to be huge. 7R. Then this could be back in here. Then that gets paid even better. But really nice work on the two big indexes. Very robust work. Yeah, this is the there are some things that I want you to do on this. I posted this in the chat room. I want you to look at we're going to make this a quiz. I gotta find it first. What the heck? I had written up a quick. Oh, I know where it is. I posted it in the chat room. Hold on. All right. So there were some disturbing tendencies on this one. So what I want you to do is work along with me. When the RL 270 is rising, right? Here was where it turned. Now you can see it's slowly rising all the way through this whole move. Underline every regression line 10 minimum reversal in red. So I'm going to do that. So here, 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 here. Notice when that dragon crosses the 270, the fun is done. Next, red circle every time the RL10 finds support at or above the RL270. All of them. Yellow dot every time the RL10 goes below Z2, sort of like an alert. It didn't quite here. I'm going to give that half credit because price went outside of the Z2. Never even exceeded Z2 until after it got beyond the crossover of the 270. So when everything's north of the 270, that's good. When it crosses, that's sort of a signal for you to learn that the run is done. So yellow dot every time the RL10 goes below 270. That's an alert, failure to fail further. Mark 1, 2, 3 entries with a blue dot. So if I'm now, when I go in here, 1, 2, 3, there's a blue dot entry. 1, 2, 3, probably right here. 1, 2, 3, right there. 1, 2, 3, right there. 1, 2, 3, right there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now go find whenever the RLXD crosses the dragon. So that's going to happen here. That coincides with the 1, 2, 3 entry here. Here. So that's a little bit later. Later. There. 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 So the blue dot of the 1, 2, 3 entry happens 1 or 2 bars earlier than the RLXD entry, which I was marking as a blue circle. Now what I want you to do, number 7, is I want you to notice your entry timing. Late, late, really late compared to that group, late, missed. So that's late, that's late. And that's at least half an R. That's almost a full R. This one is 1, 2, 2 full R. So there's almost 5 R of moves not taken. And then if you get this entry, then if I was going to put another one on here, show me where your exits ought to be. This exit ought to be here. Oops. Instead of there, that saves an R. Where's the next one here? So you have this entry or this exit. That exit, if you entered here, then that exit should be there instead of down here. So my point is timing. So take that quiz again. There's the blank chart is in the chat room, and go through that little procedure, because what I'm looking for is synchronization or alignment. Are you in rhythm on the front of the beat? So if you see the move goes down and then the move goes up, this perfect spot here would be right on the beat. And so we want to try to get this not up here. This is too soon because you're betting, well, it went that far. What more can know? We actually want to see the turn, but then we want to snug this as close to that as we can, either a 1, 2, 3 entry or a frog box off that swing low or some fraction of a frog box, or the RLXD. But what we're trying to do is get earlier and earlier on the move and not waiting to chase. So chasing late, 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 3 times in a row, late, and that made the difference. Now, the good news is you were still positive expectancy, but there's another 5 or 6 are available. All right, here's some bar by bar. Let me know if you guys found that helpful. All right. So on this symbol, here's the Z3 pinch. There was an opportunity to get short on the breakdown from Z3. This would have been a natural place where consolidation is happening. Oh, don't tell me this thing's not going to reveal. All right, I'm going to save that one for later. This was Devon Energy. Damn it. When I saved it, it didn't let me keep the live boxes, so I can't redraw them. Yeah, here were the moves, and yeah, in Devon Energy, we were going to work our way through. There's a 1, 2, 3. Here's the SSC. This makes a good. Let me do it this way. Sorry. That's the one you got to have, the SSC. This one is a 1, 2, 3. There's your sniper exit. There's your second sniper. There's a manager. There's a COTA 2. There's a COTA 2. Z3P. Second Z3P. There's a manager. There's a Z3 pinch breakout. Those are the ones Ken H was, he was busy doing something else. What I wanted you to know, this was the Z3P we just looked at. Looked like that run was done, not so much. Here's where your exit would have been in here, hitting the Bollinger Band mean. There's your next Z3 pinch breakout. And even if you take, yeah, you'd probably take this exit in here. Another couple sets of trades in here. A Z3 pinch breakout. Where's my repeat? Let's see, probably a scratch, probably then a SSC reentry, cash. You might have gotten short here, but probably not. But you would have taken this SSC and sniper, and then you're not going to trade in that last 30 minutes. But if you had, this would be the reason to do it. Is you have the RL10 rollover, then you have the COTA 2, and then there's your COTA 2 entry. So tons of fun today in Devon Energy. There was about 20 R available in the usual way, finding the movers early and often. So tomorrow should be another big day in the energies. So let's look at the report for tomorrow. Back to bullish normal. That's great. Overbought everywhere. That's great. Risk Z and the Z score going to the upside. That's very favorable. EFA and EPP are the first choices for short side. if and when we see the markets rolling over. McDonald's, Diamonds, Procter, IBM, and Chevron, big winners today. Still lots of dojis and a handful of auto framers. Still some auto framers left in the ETFs. Really strong move in healthcare. Big breakouts in Mexico and the Qs. So tech for tomorrow. I like more follow through in Brazil and Walmart. Treasuries are holding up well, almost as if there's a belief that this last 5 days cannot last at this rate. I mean, that was quite a move for the last 5 days. This is like a 5% move. Hard to believe we'd see another 5 days in a row like that, but that may be what we're seeing with treasuries. Guys playing their cards tight. Yeah. Lots of energy and old school tech in the leaders today. And mostly all US all the time in through here. There's tech crushing, S&P and materials crushing it, diamonds and tech crushing it. So looking for another momentum follow through day tomorrow. Pretty amazing run. We're getting almost like a Kata 2 formation in the slope of the RL30. This is holding, and this is still early days in the turnaround here, right? Even though those 5 days have been nice, this tells us this is not runaway optimism yet. This is a measured pullback. See, there's your Kata 2 formation in the slope, and volatility is low. And just ready to break out now above this. So the RL30 has rolled. The RL90 is not overheated. And there's still room for the RL10 to get to new highs up in this region, right? So there's another good push available this week. All right, let's be ready for tomorrow with some follow through. Keep up the great work, guys. You guys are really crushing it. Amazing work. While I have your attention, I'll send this out tomorrow. I was doing the work on the creativity course today. Let's see if I can find it. I want to give you the briefing on it. Right. So the Creativity 202 course, this is what I'm going to do on Saturdays. The Saturday evening podcast, rather than just the swing trades, Ken H, we're going to do both of those on Sundays. If you post them Saturday, I'll talk to them. But Saturday's podcast is going to be for the Creativity 202 students. So that course has about 30 modules in it, right? It has an introduction, some definitions. The down and dirty is sort of like the top 10 things to know about creativity. Then there's 6 broad sections. And then inside those sections are a total of 30 lessons with a conclusion. What the students of the Creativity 202 course are going to do is build and maintain a master learning journal. Inside that, you're going to have a learning commitment, your vision, goals, and objectives for the Creativity course. You're going to develop a 1-page Cornell note sheet per lesson, and you're going to keep a master task list and insight list in that master learning journal. That's going to be the book that you are building as part of this course. So each one of those 30 lessons each one of those 30 lessons has it has a scenario from Professor Fletcher, and it's related to a military situation in history. It's not complex. It's usually half a page of a commonly known scenario that illustrates some important leadership and critical creative thinking lessons. It's very they're compelling stories. He's a great writer, and they're very visual. And then he gives between 2 and 4 experiential exercises to go through, like, hey, make a list of this, or think of a situation when you face something like that, and what did you do, and how did so it's a guided visualization through your own experience with the topic of that lesson. And then in that course, I tell you, after you've done that, make an entry in your learning journal. Right. Make an entry in your learning journal. Yeah. After you've made your entry in that learning journal, then you're going to see where I have written some text and a trading scenario that gives you certain tasks to do, reflective questions to think about, and then an opportunity for you to do some journaling. Again, about how we take the insights and the topic from that lesson, which Fletcher introduced us to it, and we thought about it and wrote about it. And then we're going to do that with some trading materials. And then all of that stuff, after you've done both sets of those journals and we've talked about it, you then go back a second time or third time to your learning journal. And then you compare and contrast and think about how they fit together and the things that we talk about on the weekend. Right. So what we'll do on the weekend, when we talk about this concept for each lesson, first, you're going to do the Fletcher text, do his exercises, write in your journal, and then come to our discussion journal ready to talk about it. And you will have read my text, done the exercises, done it in the journal, and then come to the discussion group and we'll talk about it. Then after you've had those two discussions in our weekend study group, then you go back and you reflect on all of that and put that lesson to bed. So there's multiple bites at the apple and multiple discussions and multiple opportunities to reflect on that. Now, you don't have to be in an accountability group to do this course. It's better if you do, but you don't have to. If you just come to the group, you can participate and listen and learn that way. You don't even have to come to the group because we're going to record those discussions, and you could do this course completely on your own, self-paced, and you don't have to keep up with the 1 week per. You could do it at your own pace. But for those that want to do this a lesson a week, what we're going to do is commit Saturday evenings for an hour or 90 minutes, and we're going to use a roundtable discussion to talk about that week's lesson. And we're going to use true storytelling principles to run our little group. So it's everybody's telling their own story. There's no judgment, no advice. There's just sharing of stories. And that will get us into a weekly rhythm to work through the things that we've read and that we've wrote and then discussed in public, and then a final reflection. And then if there's anything special you want to talk about ahead of time, you just send it to me and I'll make sure it gets on the agenda. But we should be able in about 60 to 90 minutes get a really tightly focused set of discussions. And then depending on how many folks we have, we'll look at how we do that. So the Saturday evening Zoom sessions are going to be dedicated to this Creativity 202 course. And I posted a couple samples of what those courses look like already on Patreon. So I'm pretty excited about what we got. And I've given the first 10 sets of experiential learnings because I'm essentially going through the course myself, reading Fletcher's material, doing his exercises, journaling about it. Then and only then am I creating the trading scenario and my written tasks to be in support of the topic that he introduces. So I feel this is making me a good student. So that's what that exercise is going to look like. Now I'm going to record those Saturday evening Zoom sessions, and then that's going to become more content for that course, and I'll upload them in each one of those lessons. So this thing is going to be a growing course. It's one that you can go back to and continue to refresh, say, oh yeah. And so the Cornell note sheets will help you stay connected to all those other things. The two pieces that are really essential on that are going to be the master task list and the master insight list. Because what you'll do there is, as you go through each of these lessons and you're doing the journals where you're writing and thinking about that specific lesson, you're going to add notes to yourself about big aha moments, the master insights, and then things that you want to do to follow up. And that's going to go on a master task list. So that's like a running tally sheet of all the things that you've learned so far. And that's going to be how you get synergy and synchronization out of all these lessons. Because as you go back and review that running list, that's going to be the highlights for the course. And it's going to be a pretty powerful course. I expect it to take us about 30 weeks, to go through this thing. My intention is to just go one lesson at a time. The course is written. I think that if you were just going to go as fast as you could, I think you could get 2 lessons per week done. But I really think you want to just do 1 lesson a week and really crush it, and then talk about that particular lesson, and that we kind of stay on time. Although it is possible to go back and, again, if you're going back and looking at previous lessons again or reviewing your notes, 1 lesson a week still, that's a good chunk of work. So we're going to we were going to maintain the 1 lesson per week, and I'm looking to start that on the second weekend of January. And a number of you that have already done some work on this, I'll send you the invite to it. But that course is open for registration. The sale price is available until I think like 6 January. There's $1,000 off, so you can get in on that for $1,000. After that second week of January, the price is going to go to $2,000. It's going to be that forever. There is no other place on the planet where you are going to get the combination of Angus Fletcher's research on creativity, plus the work that I'm doing with him to apply creativity to our military officers, and then inside the training lessons. And I would say, David asked, do the lessons need to be done sequentially? I would say yes. I'm going through them because the 6 sections are additive, and each one presumes that you've taken the previous sections and done the foundational work. So these are ones where the sequence is scored. Sequence needs to be done for best effect, because section 1 is going to be about foundations of creativity. Section 3 or 4 is talking about certain skills to be able to reinforce that and apply it. And if you haven't done the foundations, then the techniques won't make as much sense. So short answer, yes, done sequentially. Well, that's, my point there is that with us doing them sequentially and then recording the lessons, There will always kind of be that'll be like a metronome. You can always kind of plug in and out of the discussions. I think the things we talk about in the discussions on every Saturday are going to be pretty powerful. And so I think as long as you're listening to them and then journaling about them as you reflect on them, that's going to be more important than being there physically on time, present, and saying something each weekend. I think as long as you're listening to the discussions, there'll be enough guys that are leading that there will be insights available. So that's what I would say about that. And then I also think you could front load some of those lessons too, if you had to, once we get into it, we'll figure that out. All right. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say about Creativity 202. And I shall see you guys tomorrow. Good work tonight. Keep up the fire.